Good morning, 8th grade Algebra Rockstars. This is Miss Petroboni reporting live from an undisclosed location. For the first part of ELT today, we're doing more operations with exponents. So for number 1, I know if I'm dividing with the same base, like a z divided by another z, I subtract the exponents. So I would have to do 1 minus a negative 5 to get the new exponent. So 1 minus a negative 5, be careful, that's positive 6. So my final answer would be z to the 6th power. So for the second one, I would do what's inside the parentheses first, which is the same thing. So I would do 4 minus 2, which is d to the second power. So 4 minus 2 is 2. It should be inside. So it's d to the second power, still to the third power. Okay, now to figure out what this is, you have to remember that this 3 tells me I am multiplying d to the second power times d to the second power times d to the second power. And when I'm multiplying, I add the exponents. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So my final answer is d to the 6th power. A shortcut for that, I could have just done 2 times 3 and gotten my new exponent of 6. For number 3, once again, let's do what's inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to multiply my coefficients. 2 times 1 times 4 is 8. C, and I'm adding the exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So that's what's inside the parentheses. Outside, I still have this little 2. So just remember what this means is I have 8 c to the 6th power times 8 c to the 6th power. 8 times 8 is 64. C to the 6th power times c to the 6th power is c to the 6 plus 6 is 12. And that would be my final answer. Once again, you could have done a shortcut. Instead of writing this out, I could have done 8 to the 2nd power, 64. 6 times 2 is 12. Sorry if it's a little shaky today. I think I had too much coffee. Okay, moving on. Now this one, once again, let's do the shortcut. So 5 to the 3rd power is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. K, 2 times 3 is 6. G, 3 times 3 is 9. And that would be my final answer. Okay, number 5, let's look at inside the parentheses first. So I would get 3z to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power, but then that's all to the 3rd power. Okay, so now 3 to the 3rd power is 27. 6 times 3 is z to the 18th power. It can be confusing if you're using the shortcut to remember that when the 3 is my exponent here, I'm actually cubing this coefficient. I'm not doing 3 times 3 and getting 9. I'm actually doing 3 to the 3rd power. The shortcut only works for the exponents where I can multiply 3 times 6 and get that 18. Okay, now for this one I'm multiplying, so I'm going to multiply my coefficients, which is 8. 4 times 2 is 8. K, 4 plus 1 is k to the 5th. C, 3 plus 6 is 9. Okay guys, now for this one, once again, I'm dividing with the same base, so I'm going to subtract z, and then 3 minus 5, so if I have $3, and I owe someone 5, I would still owe them $2 when I paid them back. So 3 minus 5 is negative 2. But we know, as algebratarians, that we cannot have a negative exponent, so I must take the reciprocal. So I would turn this into 1 over z to the second power. Okay guys, for number 8, I'm dividing again, but there's a lot of stuff in my numerator, a lot of stuff in my denominator. So I'm just going to go left to right, and I'm going to divide my coefficients first. So 4/9. If I divide that, it's going to be 0.4 repeating. So I'm just going to leave it as a fraction, 4/9. G to the 6th minus G to the 1st would be G to the 5th. And then R to the 4th minus R to the 3rd is just R to the 1st, or R. So my final answer would be this, or 4G to the 5th R all over 9.